A 10% distribution rate? Josh, have you gone crazy? You've lost it this time. I'm out of here, man. Take your Portland Bulldogs high school shirt and go back to Maine, you big old knucklehead, because you're nuts. All right, so this goes, my man John had emailed me today, and John said he just turned 70. He goes, Josh, you haven't done many videos on the reverse RMDs. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that because that's something that's, I'd like to know about. I'm 70 years old. He just hung up his boots. He goes, man, it'd be nice to see. So it really kicked me in the butt to get back on doing the reverse RMD book. I need to just get on this. I haven't done it. Been lazy. Not really lazy, but just I've been looking at other things. So anyway, so this really kicked me. I said, yeah, I need to really get back on this because I'm interested in the reverse RMD strategy. So that's what we're doing here. The first year, we're going to take 10% from our portfolio. The next year, we're going to take 9.8. The next year, 9.6. The next year, 9.4. The next year, 9%. All right. So on average, we're going to take for the first 5 years of retirement, we're going to average a 9.5% distribution amount. All right. Year 6, we're taking 9, 8.8, 8.6, and so the next year, the next 5 years will average 8.5% distribution amount. So basically, we're going to average in the first decade 9% distribution. All right. I assume the second decade would be an 8% distribution or something like that. I don't know. You have to maybe 7%. I'm not sure. You'd have to figure that out. It doesn't matter because what happens is this plan is guaranteed not to fail. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be good. It just means it's guaranteed not to fail, and I'll show you how that's how. Because anytime you're taking a percentage off the end of last year's amount, you'll never run out of money. All right. Because if we have $100,000. And we're taking a percentage of that, let's say 10%, that's $10,000 we're taking out. If the $100,000 fell to $20,000 and we're taking 9%, that's $1,800. You see what I'm saying? So that's, is that $1,800? Yeah, I think it's $1,800. Yeah, so we're taking $1,800 out. So as long as you're just taking a percentage of last year's amount, you'll never run out of money. Now that might leave you much. I mean, in terms of your spending, you might say, I don't want to do that. But because if it's this is what I'm going to show you here. The first example I'm going to give you is 1966, and we're going to show you how this works. In a declining portfolio, you're also taking a declining amount of money out, but you're still starting from high. And then we're going to go to 1982 and show you the difference here because we don't know what the future holds, man. All right, so let's just check this out. We're using my man Daniel Kuhlbert's 55 Elephants, 55e.co, and we're using this bucket strategy right here. All right, so that's what we're using here. And we're going to show you, we got $100,000 in here. We got 2 accounts. We got $50,000 in 1 month T-bills, which is the risk-free investment, and $50,000 S&P 500, just to keep this simple. We're going to start with 10%, and then we're going to drop by 20 basis points each and every year. So 10, 9.8, 9.6, 9.4, and whatnot. We're not really doing any buckets here because we're just doing 50-50 into the 2 various accounts. And we're going to rebalance. We're going to rebalance to keep it a 50-50 portfolio. All right. So let's go here. We're starting in 1966. If you can make it through 1966 to 1982, you, my friend, have the golden ticket. All right. You can go to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory with a blueberry girl. Wasn't the blueberry girl? I think she was a blueberry girl. And I forgot who else it was. Was it a blueberry girl? Some rich girl, but I think she was blueberry. The bubblegum blueberry girl. I don't know. I haven't watched that movie because I like the ladies. If you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I like the ladies, so I don't watch Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. That's pretty funny. Actually, the best movie, if you got grandkids, the best movie you'll ever get for your grandkids is called Hoodwinked. You got to get Hoodwinked, man. Hoodwinked is literally the best movie ever. Give me a thumbs up if you've seen Hoodwinked. Hoodwinked 2 isn't very good, but Hoodwinked 1, man, I'm not going to cover off the ball. It's so fun. I can watch that. Even my kids are adults now. Fantastic. All right. So what we're doing here is we see the first year, our 50,000 in T-bills grew at 4.8%. However, our 50,000 in the S&P 500 fell by 10.4%. So that gave us a net account balance of $97,222. And what we're doing is we're taking 10% of that. All right. So in this case, we're taking 97,222 or 97,222, 10% of the previous year's account balance. The previous year at the end of the year, I should say. All right. So what's happening here is we're taking 97,222. But because the stocks were down, we're pulling it all from, in this case, cash. All right. So you can see we're not touching the stocks. We're actually pulling it all from cash. I hope you're with me on that. Now, what we're doing here is we're also rebalancing to keep our 50-50 portfolio. So we're going to rebalance. We're going to put some of that money over to here to make it so it's basically 50-50 portfolio. All right, so let's keep going. So now we're next year, the markets were up 4.2% on the bonds, 24.5% on stocks. All right, so now we're going to take the money from the stocks. All right, so the stocks are getting the money out, and we're doing $9,800 from there. All right, so because we had an up year that year, we're pulling more money out. If we have a down year, let's see, right? Well, we didn't have a down year this year. We had an up year too. But we're only pulling 94.82 out, and the reason we're only pulling that is because after we pulled $9,800, we still, while we had good money, it's still we're reducing, if that makes sense. We're reducing our amount that we're requiring from 10 to 9.8 to 9.6. That's why that's less. So that's not really down in terms of we had a down year. We didn't have a down year. We had an up year. I mean, you can see our stocks are now about $51,000, and we pulled that 94.82 from stocks. We didn't touch our bonds. In 1969, it's different though. Now look, we went from, not only did we go from 10 to 9.8, 9.6 to 9.4, but we also lost money this year as well. Stocks are down 8.6. Well, the bonds are up 6.6. So we lost money. So again, we're not touching the stocks because we don't want to touch the stocks when the market's down. We're going to take it from the bonds. I hope you guys are with me on that. All right. So we have at the end of this year $79,000 left after we took that distribution of $8,200. Now, again, that distribution's down because we dropped our percentage down from 10 to now 9.4, I think. Plus the markets were down too. Oh, but check this out. Now the markets only gave us 76.29, right? Even though the bonds gave us 6.5% and the stocks gave us 3.6, that wasn't enough because we're pulling so much from the principal. So even though we got effectively a 5% rate of return here, because we're pulling from the principal at a clip of 9%, we still have less principal than we did the previous year, even though we had positive returns. Now, so we're only pulling 76.29 out. All right, so you can see we're dropping our income because the markets are going down, even though we're also dropping our distribution amounts. And you can see we just keep doing this until now we're down to $4,700 right there in 1978. So it's 13 years in. We're down to $4,700. Right now, the markets in 1978 are up for both sides, the stocks and bonds. But the next year it gives us a little bit of an increase because the markets are up. Watch what happens in 1973. It went from 7,500 to 4,800 because the markets were down. This is stocks down 15 and 27% respectively. So we took a big hit to income for sure. But our money survived, and you can see all the way down to 2005, which is why I just stopped it because I think that's 30 years. No, it's more than 30 years. I think it's 40 years. Yeah, 40 years. So we took $311,000 out, and you can see. I mean, we started going back from 1976. We're down to 4,700. Back up to 5,800, 6,000. So you can see, even though the ebb and flow, we still pulled a lot of money out of this portfolio. Let me just put for 30 years. Actually, let's just do 25 just for simplicity here. So at 25 years, we pulled, let me do some, I didn't do some right there, $166,000 out. And we have left in our portfolio $128,000. So let me write that down. We pulled 166. And we have 128 left income. All right, so now I want to show you what that looks like relative to the 4% rule. So now we're just going to go to the 4% so you can see inflation adjustment 4% rule right here. There we go. And let's see what this looks like. All right, so we got 50% stocks, 50% bonds, 50% cash, and 50% stocks. And we're going to see how much we pulled out. Here we pulled out $233,000. 4%, 10%. And we have $77,000 left. All right, but for 4%, by 1978 at 4%, we're pulling $8,200 out. I mean, look how low we started. See, the bulk of the amounts we're pulling out was towards the end of our retirement. That's not how retirement works. That's not how it works. So let's do 5,000 here. And we're inflation, adjusting this for inflation too. I'm sure right here we ran out of money in 1986. We pulled $291,000 out with 5%, but we ran out of money. But we ran out of money 20 years in. Is that 20 years? Yeah, 20 years in. 0, 20. Okay. Now, so what's this? I want to. So I hope that makes sense what I'm doing here. So now what I want to do something different. I want to show you guys something different. We're going to go back to reverse RMD because we're going to go to 1982 because that's 1982. So don't forget, you could have taken more money out if you wanted to in the reverse RMD at 10% because you had 50,000 more than you did in the 4% rule. It's just a fact. And we're going to do this for 1982. Yeah, there you go, 2011. Perfect. So now we're going to do reverse RMD. We're starting again at 10%. So we're going to start pulling 10% at 9.8, 9.6. So watch what happens here. And again, we're going to 25 years in retirement. The reverse RMD, you can see we're pulling 11,000, almost 12,000, 11,000, 12, 12, 11, 11, almost 13, 11, 12 and a half, 12, 11, 10, 12, 12, 14, 15, 16, 14, 11, 9 right here because this is when the markets were getting killed from 2000, 2001, and 2. Still pulling 9,000 a year out. 2002, remember 9,000 a year. So when all said and done, we pulled 298,000 out, and we have in our portfolio 176,000 left after 25 years. So we pulled 9,084 in 2000. 9084, and that was in 2002. All right. So let's do the 4%. So I hope that I just want to reiterate. We're pulling 10% because the markets in 1982 just boomed. 1983, boomed. Go Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, he's my man. If he can't do it, no one can. Ronnie Reagan, he's my man. If he can't do it, nobody can. America rules. If you know that song, put it in the comments. All right, so you see, we did great here. Obviously, towards the end of retirement, we had a little bit of a step back, but I hate to say it, you're 20 years into retirement. All right, so now let's do the 4% rule. Inflation adjusted 4%. Let's just do 5% just for fun. All right, so we're going to do 5% a year, and by 2000, we're pulling 9,471. That's what 9,471 in 2000. With our 10% reverse RMD, we're pulling $9,084. You think it's going to make that much of a difference when you're freaking 70, not 70, but like 88 years old? And so we pulled 201,000 with a 5%, and we got a portfolio left of, did I not do that right? We got a portfolio left of I don't think I did it right, 1085. Actually, let me go back. I don't think I did it right on this side. Hold on a second. Let's go to reverse RMDs right here. 10, that looks good. How much do we have left over here? Blink. I don't think I did it correctly. Yeah, 176. All right, so the 5% rule, we have much more money left. Just want to make sure. Yeah, right there. So the 5% rule, we left a lot of money on the table, man. Huge amounts of money on the table. Yeah, we had $1 million left. Okay, and then the 4% rule is going to be even more. 4% rule, we pulled 161 out. That's $130,000 left than my reverse RMDs. We're leaving 1.3 million. That's not a successful retirement plan if you're pulling 130,000 less and you're leaving freaking $1 million more. That's not a success unless that's what you're trying to do. That's not a successful retirement plan. All right, so now let's go to the aughts. We're going to go to the aughts. We'll start with 2000 because the aughts, we had low inflation, and we started pretty poorly the first 3 years in this. This only goes to 2022. And so now we're going to do the reverse RMDs, and let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. And by the way, he's got these charts up here. It's just fantastic. The stuff is this dude just crushes. Daniel. So we got $100,000. The first year we're down. All right, so we're pulling 98 at 40 out. The next year we're down, and we're reducing our amount we're pulling out from 10% to 9.8. So we're pulling 82.56. The next year we're down. We're pulling 64.31. 3 straight down years like that, not likely to happen, but it did. It happened in the Great Depression. It happened in 2000, 2001, and 2. That's just a fact, Jack. And then you can see we come back up to about 60 or 6,300. But now we're pulling again. We only got 3% in 2005. We got about a 4% rate of return in 2005, which wasn't enough to cover the amount we're pulling out of the portfolio. So we're dipping into our principal more. So we're only pulling 5,800 out now. By the time 2008 comes around, we're down to 3741. So let me write that down. 2008, 3741. And our portfolio is worth $40,000 at that point. So now we're back up to 2022. We're pulling 3,085 out, and then we have a portfolio value of $52,000. All right, so we pull. Let's see what the total amount that we pulled was. C9 to C45. C21. We don't want C9. What's that? Get rid of that. We want sum equals. There we go. Why does it say C9? I want C9. I want C21. Okay. Blink. All right. Well, 107 we're pulling out. All right, because there's no other number up there. All right, so we're pulling 107 out, and we have a portfolio balance of 52,000. 107 and 52. Let's do the 4% rule and see what that looks like. Inflation adjusted 4%. That's good. We're pulling 123 out for the 4% rule, and we have an account balance left of only $20,000. Wow. So, I mean, the reverse RMD crushed the 4% rule. In fact, I bet with the 5% we ran out of money. Let's double check. 5%, 5,000 schmackaroonies. And I bet we ran out of, right there, ran out of money in 2017. There it is. I mean, so we did the bull years of 1982. We did the stagflation years of 1966. And then we did the low inflation but low returns of the odds to start the century. I don't know how you can argue against the reverse RMD in that scenario. The only argument you can make is the 4% rule, and the 5% rule gives a whole lot more money. I get it. And there's going to be more of this to come. That's just using the bucket of the S&P 500 and T-bills. The nice thing about Coolbird stuff, my man Daniel, you can actually go back and look at, watch this. And you guys should buy from him. I don't think he charges very much, and I don't get paid for it. You can go back and use, he's got, I don't know, let's look at, what's the one bond fund? Franklin Income Fund. Let's see if he goes back to 1966. Hold on just a second. I think it does. Yeah, it does. Sweet. And then we're just going to not do anything at bucket 2. Well, 1966. Anyways, there's a lot of different funds in here you can pick and choose from. I freaking love it. We're going to go back with 100,000 schmackaroonies here. We're going to put 0 here, and we're not going to do any rebalancing. All right, so the 4% rule with the Franklin fixed income, because that's the long. Is it the Franklin? I thought it was Putnam. Let me do Putnam. Yeah, there it is, Putnam. That's the longest mutual fund I could find, bond fund I could find. So 4% with a Putnam Income Fund. It lasts until 1989. So it ran out of money in year 24. All right, right there, year 24. Obviously, if that ran out of money year 24, so wouldn't the 5% one. And then we're going to say how much we income. How's it doing that right there? Oh, I got to get rid of. Oh, I got to get rid of that. 1989. Oh, I screwed that up. Okay. That's not what I screwed up. I have to have Daniel fix it for me. I screwed his stuff up. Oh, I put something. I see what I did. I put something in there. Knucklehead. I'm a big old knucklehead. All right, well, there we go. See what I did right there? I put a freaking. If I can. Oops. Sorry, Daniel. What if I do like this? Will I fix it? There we go. Sweet. Nice. Look at Josh. Josh, you're doing all right. You're all right, Josh. Thank you, Mom. All right, let's do it again on the Putnam Fund here and see what we come up with. Boink, and we're going to get rid of the S&P 500. Zero that out. 1966 inflation adjustment 4% a year. And income need, right there. And we're going to take equals sum. We took 233,000 out, okay? So now what we're going to do is, and how much do we have left? And that's just all bonds. Let me get rid of this guy right here. Crack how. And how much do we have left over here? $52,000. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do reverse RMDs. I just want to make sure, there it is, man. Oh, wait, I don't want rebalancing. Scratch all. But what I just said, forget that. So hold on a second. Now we're just doing the Putnam Fund, and we ran out of money in year 25. Okay, there we go. Ran out of money in year 25. All right. And then we're taking money in 1980, 10,000 bucks out. Okay, so now let's do reverse RMDs. Yeah, it looks pretty good. In 1980, we're taking 3,000 out, but we started with so much more on the front end. We started more than double on the front end, and we didn't run out of money. We had 84,000 left still. Again, I wouldn't consider that a successful retirement because we didn't take that much out to begin with. But how much we took out? I forgot what. I think let's see, equals sum. There we go. 140. I think the other one's 150. Man, I'm telling you, the reverse RMDs. There's some more to come on this. It's a reverse RMD, man. It works. I think. I got more to do on this, but just want to throw that back in your face, Canada. All right. Love your thoughts. God bless. We'll see you.